بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين ووفقنا توفيق الصالحين الصادقين وعد علينا بعوائدك الحسنى يا أكرم الأكرمين. The last time that we sat here together, we began the story of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. And we had mentioned that Yusuf, as a young child, was telling his father of his dream, and his father had given him a few glad tidings and explained to him a few things. But one of the things that he mentioned was that لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك, that don't tell your brothers your dream. Now, before we get to this next scene or the second scene of the story, we have to understand this importantly. Why? Because his father told him not to mention his dream to his brothers. And this is a lesson for us and for people that are parents, that a parent should always know the good and the bad of their child intimately. Some parents, especially mothers, if someone tells them something about their kid, what do? They deny, they deny, they deny. They said, my kid could never do that. My kid could never be like that. But here, the example of Yaqub alayhi salam, Yaqub, he knows his kids. He knows his sons. He knows that if Yusuf was to tell his brothers this dream, that they would try to do something bad. And that's why his father said, don't tell them, because he knew them. And so we begin the second scene of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. And the Quran highlights for us in the second scene the conspiracy or the plot or the mu'amara of the brothers, what they planned on doing in order to finally get rid of Yusuf. And remember, Yusuf is a young child. He's a little boy. And so what do? They pretend to be sincere. They pretend to be caring brothers for Yusuf in front of their father. They had the hearts of wolves, even though they were the children of messengers. Jealousy, hasad, brought them so low that not only were they willing to hurt Yusuf, but they were also willing to hurt their own father by the pain and the loss of Yusuf. And so what was the reason for their jealousy? A lot of people ask. The reason for their jealousy was the love that Yaqub alayhi salam had for his son Yusuf. And many people, they look at this and they say, okay, well, isn't it natural for some parents to love some children more than they love other children? And yes, it's natural. Sometimes you always say a mother loves her son the most and a father loves his daughter the most, so on and so forth. This is something that's natural. It's something that happens to people. But the key difference is that a father or mother that might love another child more than another child should not treat them any differently, right? Unless there's a reason to do so. And so it was this love that Yaqub had for Yusuf that caused this jealousy within their hearts, right? It was this love that bothered them and kept them at night conspiring and plotting to get rid of Yusuf, right? And this is before they knew about the dream. If they knew about the dream, things would be way worse. And so the Quran, it says, إِذْ قَالُوا لِيُوسُفَ وَأَخُوهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَىٰ أَبِينَا مِنَّا, that these brothers are sitting at night and they're talking to themselves and they're saying that our brother Yusuf and our brother Binyamin or Benjamin, those two are more beloved to our father than us. وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ, well, we're a group of 10. Inna abana lafi dalalin mubin, that our father is in clear error. He's in clear dalala. He's astray. He doesn't know where his true love should be dedicated. According to the scholars of tafsir, Yaqub alayhi salam had 2 wives. Again, we don't know this for a fact, but this is according to the scholars of tafsir and the scholars of history, that he had 2 wives. The first wife had 10 children. The second wife had 2 children. The second wife that had 2 children, they were Yusuf and Binyamin. And Yusuf and Binyamin, in terms of the succession of kids, were the youngest. They were literally little kids. The rest of them were clearly above. They were in their teenage years. And so generally when kids are little, parents show the smallest kids in the house the most attention, right? Not because, they're from such and such parent or because of anything. It's simply because of their young age, right? That's why he would take care of Yusuf and Binyamin more than he would take care of his other kids in that sense. It wasn't that he was preferring one kid over the other. That's what an oppressive parent or a grandparent does. But this is a prophet of Allah, and so he would never do that. In Arabic, there's a small, what we call an anecdote of a wise Arab woman. This wise Arab woman is asked the question, Ayyu abna'ik ahabbu ilayk? Now, which of your children, a wise Arab woman, is the most beloved to you? And she responds in a wise and intelligent way. She says, As-saghiru hatta yakbur. The young one until the young one becomes old. Wal-ghaibu hatta yarji'. The one who's absent, the one who's traveling, the one who's in another city, another state, another country, that one is the most beloved to me until that one returns. Wal-maridu hatta yashfa. And the sick one until the sick one becomes cured again. And so this is why you'll see that when a child is very small and there are older children, the parents are important to the youngest child. When you see a child who might be sick, they might have a disease, they might have cancer, so on and so forth, the parents will have more ihtimam and more importance for that child, not because they want to treat their children differently. It is because of the situation, because of the circumstance that's happening, right? And so the small person is treated differently than the grown one due to the weakness of childhood. And so on top of that, Yusuf alayhi salam, his father knew that he was going to be a prophet. And sometimes a father knows and sees something about one of his children that he cannot tell the other children, right? And so from his perspective, Yaqub's, he was treating them equally and fair, and he wasn't doing anything wrong. And that was the case. But from their perspective, the brothers, they said that our father is oppressing us. He's doing dhulm. And they accused him of being astray. And they said, وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ. That Yusuf and Binyamin, that's just two people, and they're little kids. As for us, we are a group. We can do things Yusuf cannot. We can take care of the affairs of the house. We can take care of the livestock. We can earn livelihood and acquire food for our families. We are stronger, yet no importance is given to us. That's how they feel, right? Now, a healthy person or a person that has good emotional intelligence, they'd go to their father and say, we feel this way. Can you explain your position? Why? So on and so forth. But instead, what do they start doing? They start sitting and coming with ideas in order to get rid of Yusuf. And so what do they say? They're sitting. One of them says, Uqtulu Yusuf. Let's kill Yusuf. Let's murder Yusuf. Another one says, Awitrahuhu arda. That let's throw him away. Let's cast him away into a faraway land. Killing is too far. يَخْلُ لَكُمْ وَجْهُ أَبِيكُمْ. That perhaps if we get rid of Yusuf, the face of our father, the favor of our father, the love of our father will be directed to us alone. We won't have to share it with him anymore. وَتَكُونُوا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحِينَ. And after we get rid of Yusuf, we'll go back to being righteous folk. We'll repent, we'll go back, we'll change our ways after committing the sin. Unfortunately, sometimes you have Muslims that do the same thing. They say, let me just do this one bad thing, and then after that, I'll go back to being a good Muslim. But that's exactly what they're saying, right? And so this is something that's very dangerous and something that you and me as Muslims should stay away from. But as you go through this and you hear these thoughts, you might think, isn't murder or casting your little brother away into a faraway land something too extreme? The reality is that hasad in of itself, jealousy in of itself, is natural. It's something that every single person experiences once or twice in their life, at least. But the result of it or the actions that happen because of it are always unnatural. It causes a person, number one, to lie. They're going to lie to their father, as you'll see. It causes a person to be disobedient. They lack filial piety, righteousness towards their parents. They disobey their parents. And in the most extreme form of jealousy, it can lead to harming others physically, You can lead to stealing their property, so on and so forth. And sometimes it can even lead to murder. So even though jealousy is something that naturally happens, it's something that has to be put in check. Otherwise, it can lead to places that are not good for you. Now, one thing to understand about jealousy while we're on the topic is that whenever you see somebody with a blessing, with something that they have and you don't have, there are four scenarios that you can be in. For example, I see something good that somebody else has. For example, they have a car. For example, they memorize Quran. For example, they have a house, so on and so forth. All of these are good things. If I see something good, I say, I want the same thing, but I also want that person to have it as well, right? This is known as ghibta. It is allowed. It's having a good form of jealousy, meaning you want something that somebody else has, but you also want them to have it as well. You want everybody to be happy. And this form is fine. The second form is the form that these brothers were inflicted with, which is that you want somebody else to lose their blessing. And not only that, you work towards them losing it, right? You work towards their failure. And so this is what the brothers wanted. They wanted Yusuf to lose the love, and they also wanted to take it from him, and they plotted for it. Number three is that you want something good. You want a blessing, but you don't want others to have it at all. This in Arabic is called bukhul or ananiya. It is being stingy or selfish, right? So the first one was a good type of jealousy. It's the type where you want other people to have it and you have it as well. The second type is that you are jealous and you want other people to lose it and you only want to take it from them and you plot against them. The third type is that you want something good, but you don't want others to have it, right? And then the fourth type, which is the highest level and the level that the Prophet ﷺ instructs us to have, and it's the type that is good, and that is to want what others have. You want what others have, but if you cannot have what others have, you at least want them to have it. In Arabic, we call this ithar, which means you prefer others over yourself, meaning you want good to happen to others, even if it doesn't happen for you. This type of jealousy, you could say, is the type that only prophets have. And those Muslims that are truly connected to Allah, they have true iman, and they understand that nothing in this world comes except from Allah. They prefer whatever they have for others. And this is the example of the Sahaba when the people went from Mecca to Medina, leaving their houses, leaving everything behind. And they went to the people in Medina, the Ansar. The Ansar gave away their houses, their everything, right? يُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ. They preferred the Muhajirun, they preferred the people that came to Mecca over themselves, right? And so these are the four categories. If you have to be from these four categories, be from either the first one, where you want something good and you want it for others, or be from the category where you want others to have something even if you don't get it, right? Don't be from the other two categories. Now, another question comes is what kind of brothers were these? These 10 brothers, were they prophets? Or who are they? So the first opinion is that these 10 brothers were also prophets alongside Yusuf and alongside Binyamin. This opinion is what we call ra'yun marjuh. It is a weak opinion. The evidence for it is too weak. It almost doesn't exist, you could say, but it was an opinion and that's why we mention it. The second opinion was that these brothers were from the Salihin. They were from the righteous. Right? And you might be wondering, how can these brothers be from the righteous? Why do we say they're from the righteous? It's because even in the ayah, they say that after we get rid of Yusuf, we'll go back to being righteous people. Meaning they're the children of prophets, they're righteous, they're good, but even the righteous people can be affected by hasad. And this is why sometimes you'll see an imam or a sheikh or a scholar or a student of knowledge or a worshiper be jealous of another worshiper. This is possible, right? Even the most righteous of people can feel jealousy, just like these brothers did. In the same exact way, look at the example of Iblis. Iblis was that one individual that worshipped all across the earth. But the existence of one Adam alayhi salam made one of the most righteous creations of Allah become the most lowly and debased creations of Allah. That's what jealousy does. And so these brothers were not actually evil originally. It was jealousy that caused them to be that way. And so, number one, they say, let's kill him or let's abandon him in another place. Against who? Against a child. So that our father will look at us again instead of him and will be back from the righteous. This is how shaitan plays people, right? It's okay to do this sin today. Tomorrow you can be better, right? And hasad is that one thing which makes you think if you act on it, you will be the winner, right? But they were the losers. They lost their brother, and eventually their father became blind, and they lost the love of their father as well, right? They wanted the love of their father so badly that they lied, that they disobeyed their father, and they broke their own family. Jealousy is that one thing that is like fire. Just like fire eats wood, jealousy eats on the relationships of people, right? And so they could have been honest and they could have told their father how they felt, but they didn't. Now they start feeling bad while they're plotting. قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ. One of them said, and the scholars, they said that one of the brothers that said this, he was كَانَ أَعْقُلُهُمْ. He was the most intelligent of them. And he was the one that felt bad in his heart that they even suggested these things. قَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنْهُمْ لَا تَقْتُلُوا يُوسُف. Let's not kill Yusuf. وَأَلْقُوهُ فِي غَيَابَةِ الْجُبِّ يَلْتَقِطْهُ بَعْدُ السَّيَّارَةِ إِن كُنتُمْ فَاعِلِينَ. How about we take Yusuf and we throw him into the bottom of a well? He will be picked up by a caravan. If we really have to do something, let's do that, right? Meaning that they don't really want to do this. They don't really want to get rid of Yusuf. They don't really want to kill Yusuf, but it's jealousy that gives them no choice, right? It's the shaitan plotting and trying to divide them that gives them no choice. And so they feel like they have to act upon it. And so this is something that they're feeling within themselves. And so now they're sitting, they're comparing, they're feeling jealous. And so now the consequences begin of their actions, right? And this is why in the Muslim community, you always hear imams talking about brotherhood, sisterhood. And we talk about it for the community, but we also as parents have to talk about it in the household. Sometimes siblings stop talking to each other for years on end. Why? Because real brotherhood and real sisterhood is not established when they're younger, right? And so people break apart. And so this family of Yusuf alayhi salam, they lived in what we call Sahra'u Canaan, which is the deserts of Canaan, or where the Canaanites lived, which is in Palestine. And this area had abar, it had a lot of wells, a lot of places where water was stored because it was a desert. And it had a lot of wolves, right? It was mud'iba, kathiru dhi'ib, right? There was a lot of wolves everywhere. And so what do these people decide to do? They say that we're going to take our Yusuf and we're going to throw him in the ghayabatul jub. Ghayaba is like a thing that you can't see with your eye. It's that part of the well which is all the way at the bottom. Meaning, if a person is just walking by and they look, they won't be able to see the bottom. It's too deep, right? You'd have to put a bucket down there, or you'd have to go down there yourself in order to see what's down there. Al-jub in Arabic means a well. And so this is the phase of planning. They're planning what they're going to do. Now, after they get to the planning phase is over, now they go to the phase of execution. How do we get our father to let go of Yusuf? How do we get him to go with us? They use what many people use, which is guilt tripping. They go to their father. They don't say, just send Yusuf with us. They say, Ya abana, ma laka la ta'manna ala Yusuf. That, oh, our father, why don't you trust us with Yusuf? Why don't you think he's safe with us? وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَنَاصِحُونَ. That we are indeed people that are sincere towards our brother. We love him. We're well-wishers for him. So they're guilt-tripping their father in getting him to give in, right? He doesn't trust them because he knows that they're careless, they're young, so on and so forth. He's overprotective. But they use this strategy in order to get into the mind of their father. And then they use another strategy. They say, أَرْسِلْهُ مَعَنَا غَدًا يَرْتَعْ وَيَلْعَبْ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. The أَرْسِلْهُ مَعَنَا. Send him with us. غَدًا, tomorrow. Meaning you have some time to prepare Yusuf. يَرْتَعْ. The Yusuf will enjoy himself. He'll eat. he'll drink, we'll have a nice barbecue, we'll go out for an outing. وَيَلْعَبْ, and Yusuf will play. وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ, and while he enjoys himself and while he plays, we'll watch over him, we'll take care of him, we'll protect him, right? They were smart. They knew that if they asked their father and said that, hey, send Yusuf to come work with us, send him to come take care of the animals with us, he would say no, because he's a young kid, right? So what do? They use the idea of playing. Playing for a young child is hajatun fitriya. It's a natural thing, right? Every young boy, every young girl, every toddler, every kid loves playing, and they need to play. It's part of their nature, right? To run and to play is part of their nature. And so they play on that psychology of their father, saying that yarta, that he'll play, he'll eat, he'll drink, so on and so forth. But even smarter than that is that they mention this while Yusuf is there, right? When an older kid is in the house and they say, oh dad, oh mom, can I go somewhere? And the younger sibling is sitting there and the father says, yeah, you guys can go. What does the younger sibling do? I want to go too. I want to be with them too. Especially if the older siblings are saying, I can take them, right? So now Yusuf is saying that I want to go as well, right? So he wanted to go, right? And so they're using this. They're giving their father, like he'll play, he'll enjoy himself. In the same exact way, even in our own era, you'll find that there are people out there that will offer you play, they'll offer you entertainment, they'll pretend to show concern for you, but they just want to get rid of you. Maybe not physically, but they want to get rid of your iman. They want to get rid of the youth of the Muslims. How do they do that? Ata iqtisadi. They offer young people money to do this. They say that, hey, let's have exchange programs where they spread atheism into the Muslim world. They have what we call hurriyat shakhsiyya. They say that, oh, let's teach children about freedom of doing whatever you want. There are people out there offering your children entertainment and play and so on and so forth, just like the brothers of Yusuf was offering it to Yusuf, right? All in the name of care and all in the name of love. But in reality, all they want to do is destroy you and destroy your principles and ethics and ruin your life. And so now his father, he responds to all of this. He said, Inni la yahzununi an tadhhabu bihi wa akhafu an ya'kulahu وَأَخَافُ أَنْ يَأْكُلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَأَنْتُمْ عَنْهُ غَافِلُونَ. That I can't send him with you, because if I send him with you, I will become sad, right? I will become sad, the distance between me and him is going to be too much. This is my first reason why I don't want to send him with you. As for my second reason is that I fear that a wolf will eat him while you guys are busy playing or so on and so forth, right? So look at the father. The father has wisdom. He doesn't question their intentions. He doesn't question their niyat. Like some Muslims, they'll question other Muslims' niyat or their intentions, but he doesn't do that. He gives legitimate reasons. And he says that I fear that my son, Yusuf, will be far from me and I'll be sad, or I fear that a wolf will eat him. And the reason why we said that the area was filled with wolves is because of this ayah. And now they respond, and they respond in a very smart way. As for the idea of their father being sad, they don't respond to that, because there's no way to respond to that. There is no way for a father or a mother not to be sad with the distance of their children. They respond to the second thing, or the second excuse, you could say. And they say, لَإِنْ أَكَلَهُ الذِّئْبُ وَنَحْنُ عُصْبَةٌ إِنَّا إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. That if a wolf truly eats Yusuf, and we are a group of 10 strong young men, then we are truly the losers, right? It's our fault. We'll take the blame, right? Meaning they're taking responsibility in one sense. And you're going to see later on in the story, when they finally get rid of Yusuf, they go back to their father and they'll say that it was exactly as you said, our father, that a wolf got Yusuf, right? A wolf got Yusuf, right? And so they're using the exact words of their father against him later on. And so inshallah, the next time we sit, we'll talk about how they actually do this plan. What do they do? How do they leave it? And then what sort of lies they tell their father when they go back. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and keep us away from jealousy and the effects of jealousy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. جزاكم الله خيرا. Yes.